Living alone gets lonely, and having a dog can help soothe that ache for companionship while providing a home for your pet. Dogs have been around for centuries, and they are known as humans' best friend. Everyone has heard this saying and know at least one person with a dog who can vouch for this quote. Several years ago, I had a dog for 3.25 days, and I would have loved to share my experience with you. I adopted a dog from a rescue that was over an hour away, and prior to that, they had a lot of questions and even requested images of my home. The dog was 6 years old, and his name was Pootie. However, they changed it to Polly because they weren't too sure what that meant. The first time I met him, I noticed he was the biggest dog at the rescue and not the small dog in the images. And while I was there, we never had the opportunity to build a connection or a bond, so I assumed that taking him home would allow me the opportunity to get a better relationship with him. At the time, I was out of my house for about 9 to 10 hours a day because I had to work, so I had to keep him in the crate because he was a new dog in a new environment. I started noticing after a day or two that he had a bad odor and that he was shedding terribly. With that being said, that started to affect my allergies. And long story short, I ended up being stuck with a stubborn dog that had separation anxiety, and that made me extremely uncomfortable. First things first, he was larger than what I thought he would be. I had to keep him in a crate when I was out of my home. He refused to wash up. And I noticed that whenever we went for a walk, he always managed to sneak a small stick into his mouth so he can chew it when we got back in the house. You can assume that I felt stuck and unhappy. I had a strange dog in my new apartment who did not want to listen, and I felt like it was the wrong time with the wrong dog. I started communicating with the rescue about my concerns, and they did everything in their power to make sure that I kept him. Unfortunately, that on that fourth day, on a Thursday morning, before I went to work, I took him back to the rescue. I had had enough and my body was showing it with rashes, while mentally I was having a meltdown. Now, included with my experience, I do want to speak more on some of the cons to consider when adopting a dog. Now, dogs, especially at a young age, they go through a puppy stage where they chew a lot of things, and it's up to you to train them on what to chew and what not to chew. And that does take time. So please expect accidents, not only with chewing, but with using the restroom. Another con to consider is shedding. A lot of dogs shed, and sometimes you won't know if it can trigger your allergies until you're living with them, and that can make it really tough. Another con to consider are the opportunity costs. You have to plan your schedule around your dog, and that can make living life very hard. You also have to consider the initial fee of getting your pet, which is the adoption fee. That can range anywhere from a couple $100s to several $1,000s. And to maintain the care for your pet, you also have a pet sitters and a boarding fee if you choose to have someone else watch your dog, or put them in a pet hotel while you're out of town. Now, when you come back into town, you also have to pay for vet visits when the dog gets its checkup, or emergency costs should something happen. Overall, having a dog is not a fully negative experience. I do want to share some pros with you that can outweigh the cons. First and foremost, you are going to have that companion at home whenever you get there. And now, planning around the dog, it does help when you don't want to do certain things. Like, hey, I'm going to chill with my pet today. I can't go. And you'll also have the opportunity to get more exercise, not only for your dog, but for you. And that can increase your mood and improve your health, which can lead to less stress. Now, depending on the breed, you can also get a dog that does not have shedding, which will not affect your allergies. And that dog can also help you meet new people. Now, for me, as you can see, I didn't have the best experience with my first dog, but I'm actually in the process of adopting another dog. He is a hypoallergenic Yorkie, and he's about 8 weeks old this week. And with him, I've been doing a lot more research, and I have actually met him. His name is Bentley. Woo! So what I will say is, before deciding to adopt a dog, it helps to do research and weigh the pros and cons based on your lifestyle. As humans, we do crave interaction. So if you can share it with the pet, make sure that you are giving them the world, because to them, you are their world.